If you'd have told me last month that I would have spent over £100 in Facebook ads over 3 weeks, I would have gone, what? Surprisingly though, it has worked and I have made money over those 3 weeks. And this video is to show you what I did and how I made money. Like a lot of other independent authors and small businesses, I don't make a lot of money from my books. In fact, overall, I don't think I've broken even over the last 3-4 years that I've been a published author. But what I do want is I want to get more of my books out to more people in order to eventually make a profit. But also, this is what I love. I love to share my stories with others. But I'm often in that really awkward space between knowing that I need to get my books out there a lot more, knowing that I need to do some sort of investment into advertising, and also not really having the funds to make that investment and not being able to risk it when it doesn't pull off. So when Lesley's saying to she's marketing your book on Instagram and TikTok, when she approached me and asked me about whether I would be happy to have a couple of hours of her time in exchange for a bit of research, I thought, why not? Lesley is an expert in Facebook marketing, in particular for authors. And although this isn't an advert, Lesley hasn't asked me to do this video or paid me, I have received her services for free in exchange for information. So I guess this is kind of a sponsored post, but I will say I highly recommend having someone like Lesley, who's an expert in this field, give you some advice, because my video is just about my experience and it's far better to speak to someone who's the expert that can help you set this up. So we set up a £5 a day Facebook advert. This is different from a post boost that you might be offered when you put a post up on Facebook or Instagram and Facebook offers you to do a one-time boost to more people. Facebook ads is slightly different. I don't really know how to explain that, but you can select more around who to target with a Facebook ad. So we set up this ad and it was targeting just one of my 4 books, and there is a reason I'll explain later. And we set that up through Facebook Ads Manager. In order to have Facebook Ads Manager, you need to have the following things. You need to have a personal account, a business page that's linked to that personal account, and also that will give you access to Meta Business Suite. And through Meta Business Suite, you can get access to the Ads Manager. It sounds a lot more complicated than it should be, and it is a lot more complicated than it should be, and the settings change a lot. So I was really glad that I had Lesley's help to guide me through how to set one up. But once you set an ad up, it's actually really easy to change the amount per day, change the date at which it finishes. So if an ad isn't working very well for you, you can just stop it before the end date, etc., etc. Once you've set it up, there's options that you can go through and toggle yourself without anyone else's help. You also need a really good route to purchase. And what I mean by that is, where are you taking those people once they click on the ad? And how many clicks does it take for them to go from clicking on the ad through Facebook to actually purchasing your product? A lot of really good ads might be missing out on essentially customers, because once the customer has landed on a landing page or a home page, it's difficult for them to make that purchase. So through my advert, I've directed the customer specifically to the link to that book that I'm advertising. Yes, they can look around and they can order more books if they want, but I'm specifically targeting My Family Is So Scottish, which is my best-selling book. And so the link directs them straight to that page where they can add it to basket and purchase. I've also got my website hosted by Shopify, which enables Apple Pay, Shop Pay, all the other ways of paying really quickly through your mobile. The other thing that's really good to have is a hook, an offer, something that's going to entice somebody to click on that ad in the first place. For me, it was free postage in the UK. One of the reasons I did this was because people people who buy through Facebook are very used to buying through Amazon and also used to not paying any postage. And I wanted to basically not create a barrier for that. This might change in the future, but at the moment that offer is working for me. There are two more things that I considered before setting up the ad. Number one is with the offer that I have and with the payments that I would be making on the advert cost, will I actually be making a profit? Will I be able to afford that? And how many purchases would I need every day in order to break even on not just the ad, but all the other costs that it took to make those books? One of the reasons why I chose My Family Is So Scottish is because that book itself has broken even. And so when I sell each additional book, the profit is all for me. So I've already covered the cost of creating that book, illustrating that book, and the cost of printing. So it was easier for me to work out what the cost was if you take the cost of the advert and the cost of the postage into account. So that's something that you have to be really, really aware of, especially if you're doing a bit of experimenting. So going into the ad experiment, I knew that I just needed to get one sale per day in order to cover the £5 a day cost. The other thing you need to consider is your target audience if you have one. So I knew from my website stats that predominantly women buy my products, and also predominantly women follow me on Instagram. So I decided to target women who were over the age of 24 because they were the target market that are likely to have young children or young grandchildren. You also need to consider the sort of words that you want to use in your advert, because then the algorithm will read those words and hopefully direct you to the right people. For me, it was the word Scottish and the word best selling. So after 3 weeks, how did I do? Well, seeing as I hadn't really had any direct sales apart from wholesale for about a month before that, and I wasn't really advertising anywhere else, I've attributed all of my sales in that last 3-week period to this advert. It probably, maybe 10% might have been purchases anyway, but for simplicity, let's just say that all the last purchases from my website have come through this advert. I can also validate that with the fact that I think 95% of clicks have come through Facebook. So let's assume that. So in that 3-week period, I've received an income of £553, and that's for 53 orders. Some of those orders have more than one book. I then spent £243 in postage and ads together. I just had to pause and work out that profit. That's £310 profit. I worked out that that was about £5.20 profit per book, and the book sells at £8.99. For me, that's a massive win. Not only is it just above what I get for wholesale, I mean, taking into the cost of my whole business, it's not a lot, but it's a profit, right? And it's also over 50 new customers that were completely unaware of my books, my brand, or me as an author. Because I sell directly to my customers rather than through Amazon, I also have the statistics on who's buying those books. You know, are they male or female? Where are they based in the country? And that's really fascinating to me. Also what time they're buying the books as well. So what I've learned is that Sunday is my best day. Lots of people purchase my books on a Sunday afternoon. Evenings, the rest of the week, so people are purchasing from 6 p.m. onwards, well into the night, some of them at 3 o'clock in the morning, and they're UK based. And majority of them are female, but that doesn't surprise me because I targeted the ad at females. Something that I also noticed about the Facebook ad that I just wasn't aware of before is that if it's really good in terms of getting a good click-through rate and converting sales, converting clicks through to sales on your website like mine is, People will then also comment on it. They'll comment people's name, they'll tag people in it, just like a regular Facebook post, but it's an ad, right? And so you can then interact with those people on that ad. And interestingly, something I learned from Lesley was that if you turn that ad off at any point, you can then turn that back on later on and it will keep all of the comments and the likes and the interactions. So if you've got a really great ad that's working, but you need a break, you can then effectively store it up and sort of repurpose it later on, and it will still keep all those comments. So for the moment, this one advert is doing well for me. I think what makes it good is it's visually compelling. It says what it is. It's a Scottish book, so if people are interested, they know what they're getting. The free postage, I'm going to keep on until the Christmas period is over, and then maybe try with a different advert or a different offer in January to see how that compares. Lesley tells me that anything that is around under 10p per click that you're spending on the ad, because it gives you those stats as well, is good. And at the moment my ad is performing at under 5 pence per click. And then my conversion rate on my website is around 3%, and apparently 3% is very good. So I'm not going to change anything. This week I am experimenting with spending twice as much on the ad and seeing if I get twice as many orders. I think it's difficult to tell because I've upped it during Thanksgiving, and a lot of ads are all over everywhere at Thanksgiving, even in the UK because of Black Friday. So we'll see. So I'm going to run that for another week, and then I'll check back in here and let you know if doubling the ad doubles my sales. So I hope that was useful. If you found it useful, please follow me, subscribe on YouTube. You can follow me on Instagram, Kirsten_writes, and on Facebook, which is Kirsten Author, and TikTok as well, which is also Kirsten_writes. I think I'm as Sequoia Publishing UK on TikTok. Let me know in the comments if you found this video useful, if you have any more information to share, and if you are also experimenting with Facebook ads too.